Welcome in to a special edition of the Mile High Hoops podcast. And the reason why it's a special edition is because today we are unboxing Nikola Jokic's signature shoe. I'm out here grabbing it. That's what I'm doing. Before I even do that, you might be noticing the hat and you're saying, hey, cool hat, Jake. What are you wearing? This is the 361 degrees Nikola Jokic's brand hat. And you can see from here, you've got the NJ logo in the crown for a Joker, obviously, and then the 1-5 on the side with Jokic's signature. So this is the brand that 361 degrees is going with as Jokic's signature logo. I have obviously already worn the hat. It's a nice hat. Really thick, good quality, a little bit thicker for my taste than kind of like the 47 brand or New Era that I like to wear. But nonetheless, a good solid black hat with some gold. I'll probably be wearing it with some buff stuff if I had to guess, knowing me, Mr. Black and Gold right here. But let's get to what I've been teasing on the podcast for a little bit, and we're going to unbox today. It's the Nikola Jokic Peppa Pigs, as my ring light reflects. These are his signature shoe from 361 in the Peppa Pig colorway. From what I know, there is some kind of, his daughter has an interest in Peppa Pig, and that's one of the reasons why he's doing this. We've got all of the characters from Peppa. We've got Peppa, George, Mommy, and Daddy Peppa Pig. I don't really know. I'm not the biggest Peppa Pig person. Shout out to Peppa, who has recorded better music according to Pitchfork than Kanye West, which is one of my favorite memes. But I don't know much about Peppa Pig. So let's get into the shoes, unbox them. Instantly, one of the things that sticks out and was pointed out to me by a friend is on the different colors of Jokic's shoes, we have different quotes. And this one just says, research designed for elite hoopers. One says, winning is a lifestyle, which is a quote he actually had in the Nuggets championship press conference when I was in it. So that was really cool to me. But this is the left foot. We've got the NJ Nikola Jokic logo. He's been wearing these shoes in all different kind of color styles the last couple months now. Last night, he wore the black and white ones against the Timberwolves. He actually wore these exact ones for one of his signature games this year. I think it was one of his big triple doubles. It wasn't the 30-20-21 one. We've actually got a small Peppa on the heel, on the tongue. And then, like I said, I haven't even opened these. So let's get to the right foot one now, which same color, but different tongue color, different shoelace color, and then the stripe is different. And then you also have I guess these are like stitching. They kind of feel like when you have a baseball mitt, here's my baseball mitt. The leather shoestrings on a baseball mitt, right? That's kind of this same material right here. So kind of interesting that this is in a shoe. I've never seen that in a shoe before. Trust me, I've seen a lot of shoes. I'll get into that in a second. And then you've got George Pig right here. So I have not even opened these. You've got the Peppa Pig here, product name, little tags, 361. I do have another pair of 361s that I've been wearing that I quite like a bit, and I can talk you through that before I even get back to these in a second. But I've been wearing the big three Mr. Krabs collab ones. That's why they look like this, because I've been wearing them. But I've been wearing these quite a bit with my blue and red type of outfits. And I will say they're quite comfortable. They're a little bit narrower towards to the top of the foot than I might like, but I'm also someone who wears a lot of Kevin Durant, so I don't necessarily mind the most narrow shoe. They're definitely wider than the Kevin Durant, and I've got a really wide foot at my where my toes are. So, I'm obviously a big shoe guy if I'm going through all of this. but I'm someone who also obviously believes in actually wearing these shoes. I know a lot of people just collect them. I actually like to wear them. I'm going to put on the right foot one right now. And I'm really curious as how they kind of feel comparatively to some of the other signature shoes I have, which are right here and I've worn, and I'll show them off to you in a second. With both that lace feature and the kind of just the overall build of this shoe, it feels really quality. The sole is really interesting in terms of the design. It doesn't seem like it's going to be as grippy as the other one I have from 361. These are again, worn them. These are super grippy. Like, this does not look like it's going to be very grippy, which I mean is kind of fine because I don't really play basketball that much anymore. Like, I kind of just wear these out and about, right? So let's see. I'm going to put this on my right foot. Got a brand new pair of stance socks on too. Ooh, this is snug. Okay. Haven't tied them yet. Let's see. See me you can see me trying on shoes. This is a really fun episode. So we've got the shoes right here, right? My new pair of stance socks. That they do feel really grippy still. They're like really grippy. They're tight in the right place for me, at least. Like, kind of the top of my arch on the mid part of my foot. Like, it doesn't feel like they're going to come off. I haven't even tied them yet, like I just said. And I can tell the ankle support's going to be pretty good on these. I kind of like that they're not high tops, right? That they're kind of in this mid-range kind of form factor. The lower high tops, I don't know. I wouldn't even say these are lower high tops. I'd say these kind of are just the mids. The back of the heel with the green on one and the yellow on the other, kind of providing some extra support and construction to the shoe is interesting as well. The top of the shoe that's closer to the tongue is more of this like leathery felt kind of feel. It's like an actual real fabric, whereas the one kind of down towards the bottom that makes up the cap that's kind of shiny on some of the pictures you see of him playing, that kind of feels like more of a synthetic material. But yeah, I would say I like these. They're a little bit tight. I'm a 9.5. I have a like I said, I have a wide foot, but yeah. So again, comparing these to, here's just some KD11s that I have that are in Nuggets colors. That's why I like them. These are much wider than the KD11s. The KD11s also really grippy. You can tell by the way they were building them, kind of in this era of Nike, which was like 2017, 18. This was like kind of post Hyperdunk Nike. I'm a big fan of the KD line just in general, but I've also been wearing some more Adidas lately, and I wore these James Hardens actually for my wedding. These are the Harden 6s, I think. I don't know what color they are. Yeah, I don't know what color they are, but they're the Harden 6s, and I brought these out because they are kind of the most similar to me to what these Jokic shoes are. Kind of like a bulkier shoe. It's not necessarily a low cut. It's got a little bit of height around the ankle. And then you've got the, you've got an interesting kind of, this is more of a standard bottom of your foot feel, whereas this one is, the weird design as we've talked about. This one's more breathable for sure. That's why I wore it. I got married in New Mexico in the summer. This one, obviously, there's not a lot of breathability, it seems, although the tongue does have some hole cutouts on the Jokic Peppa Pigs. The tongue cutouts seem kind of nice. So that's kind of where I'm at on these. And, I want to kind of try out the Team Jokers too, which are the lower quality, so to speak, non like signature line. Those are kind of the ones that are more affordable, because like I have a good comparison on that too, which is just, here are again, I've worn the hell out of these. I really like these Giannis's. These are, I think, the Zoom Freak 3s. And then this is the same year, the cheaper version. The cheaper version actually feels a lot more basketball-y and grippy. The Zoom Freaks kind of feel like they're more of a wear out shoe type of thing. Although I honestly, I think I might actually be getting these confused at this point because I've worn these so much. Yeah, I think, yeah, I don't know. Point being is there is definitely a difference in these shoes, and it's only a $10 difference on the 361 website between the Team Jokers and the Signature, and the build quality looks the same. I personally went with the regular Signature Jokic's over the Team Jokers because I kind of liked the color waves better and the build style a little bit better on those. Like, I'm not necessarily opposed to, again, because I'm not playing basketball on these. I kind of just wear these around. So, yeah, I will say my favorites to wear around that for the last couple years have been these the KD 13s from 2K, the 2K collab. I think these are called like the Freak or Crazy or something like that. I don't know. These are awesome. These are one of my favorite pairs of shoes ever. You can kind of see they look like they'd be good for basketball. And I've played basketball in these, and they're fine, but they're very comfortable to wear. And then these are very uncomfortable to wear and looks like they're going to be good for basketball, but I love the color on these. The Trae Young ones. These were popular in the NCAA tournament a couple of years ago. I saw them everywhere and I just bought them. And again, you're seeing like the bulkiness. Adidas got like this bulky thing. You saw it with the Hardens as well on kind of the midfoot area. So I don't like that as much. So I don't know where I'm at with these Jokic's is I think they're kind of really good. Like I'm normally, I kind of lean Nike on everything. So when you find shoes that are non-Nike that are good, I still need to get a pair of the glitchies from Jamal and New Balance. I really like New Balance. I want to get a pair of the Pumas that Michael Porter Jr. has been wearing because I'm a big fan of women's basketball and he's supporting women's basketball with the shoes he wears. So, and I need to try out some of the other women's Poopers shoes, like the Sabrina Ionescu shoes and stuff like that. But point being, for a signature shoe for the first drop, I think this is a really good first drop from 361 Degrees in Nikola Jokic. I don't know if I had to put it on 1 to 10, I would probably say like an 8 or a 7. I don't necessarily think this is like iconic or like the best to wear out to the club per se, but I think it's a really fun shoe that I'm going to be wearing around. And I think there's a cool story behind it with the Peppa Pig angle. And I'm always looking for stories in the sneakers I wear, and to be able to support Nikola Jokic, which obviously we weren't able to do with Nike, even though he had won an MVP and a title, and we get the logos of the brands. And obviously people around Denver, I've already seen people wearing them. Last night I saw a couple people wearing big threes at the Nuggets game. I think it's just cool, like that we have that guy here in Denver, and especially big men, because big men don't normally sell shoes unless you're like Giannis and you've got this incredible upbringing and story, and your life is literally a Disney movie. So overall, so far, I like the 361 Degrees. Maybe you hit me up on social media and ask me how they feel once I've worn them in a little bit. Just to back my shoe knowledge. And obviously I've got a million shoes here. I grew up in a shoe store. My parents owned a shoe store. My grandfather owned a shoe store. My great-grandfather owned a shoe store. And my great-great-grandfather was a cobbler. I am a shoe guy. I know a lot about shoes. I've been around shoes my whole life. I've probably got about 80 pairs of shoes hanging around the house somewhere. So yeah, I'll give it to you straight on these shoes. And that's why I wasn't embarrassed about trying shoes on a camera, because I've been fitting people for shoes in front of other people for a long, long time. Anyway, so that's my review of the 361 Degrees from Nikola Jokic. I want to shift gears a little bit and just talk about the Nuggets' loss last night to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Kind of a blowout loss, right? Well, not even kind of. They were down 26 in the fourth quarter at one point. Pull the starters, and it was ugly. And it's been 5 straight losses to the Minnesota Timberwolves, including the worst playoff loss in Nuggets history by margin, 3rd worst loss of any game by margin in Nuggets history, the 45-point loss in Game 6 of the second round last year. And then you follow it up with the worst Game 7 collapse in NBA history. You start the season this year and you have a 12-point lead on the road in the second half in the fourth quarter. You blow that one, and you've gotten blown out now twice by the Wolves. And I just think that, you know, despite what Michael Malone says in the pride factor and the team still taking pride in what they do, I don't necessarily dispute that. I do think that there's some kind of mental block when it comes to playing the Minnesota Timberwolves that the Nuggets have. I think that is a problem that the Nuggets are going to need to solve. If you ask me today, who I'd want to play, if you ask me today who I'd want to play in the postseason as the Denver Nuggets, I think the Minnesota Timberwolves are absolutely last on the list. I'd rather have the Boston Celtics in a game 7 in Boston over the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's how much the Minnesota Timberwolves have the Nuggets number. I don't even know how to break it down, like in terms of like a positional type thing, or necessarily like one number sticks out to why. I just think it's a bad matchup across the board. From position by position, obviously Joker's got Rudy, but everywhere else, I think the Wolves do a really good job of guarding the Nuggets, whether it's McDaniels on Porter or Anthony Edwards and Nickeil Alexander-Walker on Jamal Murray. I think they take that matchup really seriously, and they've come to know and really understand the Nuggets in a way other teams haven't. Obviously, Tim Conley being the GM of that team really hurts the Nuggets as well. But yeah, if you ask me today, Jake, who would you want in the Western Conference playoffs? In the first round, it's anyone but the Wolves. Give me anyone but the Wolves. And in the second round, you're hoping the Wolves are gone if the Nuggets get that far, because you do not want to run into the Wolves. This team does not look like one that the Nuggets are going to be able to get past. I like the Nuggets' chances, honestly, against the Thunder more than I like the Nuggets' chances against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And again, I don't know the exact reason why, but there does seem to be some sort of mental block with this team that they're going to need to break through. They're going to have one more chance to do it. And I will caution everyone, the last 2 blowouts that the Nuggets have had, right? The last 2 games have been blowouts. They've had that without Aaron Gordon. And I think Aaron Gordon is really important specifically for this matchup with the Minnesota Timberwolves for the Denver Nuggets. So we'll see the Nuggets again without Aaron Gordon against the Los Angeles Lakers on Friday. We'll see them playing the LeBron-less Lakers, featured with Luka Doncic and basically no centers. That's kind of interesting. Washington Wizards, the worst team in the NBA, are here on Saturday. They got the Nuggets earlier this season, so the Nuggets are going to try and get their lick back. I don't think they're necessarily going to care that much, but, could be a good time to rest, because that concludes a stretch of 5 games in 7 days. And then we've got another big one on Monday night on national TV against the Golden State Warriors. We'll be talking about all those games next time on the Mile High Hoops podcast with me, Jake Shapiro. Between now and then, make sure you like and subscribe to everything on Denver sports. We've got some awesome content on the stuff going on with the Denver Broncos. They've had a very active start to NFL free agency, and there's a huge Avs game on Sunday. My brother over at the Mile High Hockey podcast, Will Peterson, has you covered on everything you need to know going into Sunday's hockey game against Mikko Rantanen and the Dallas Stars. Jake Shapiro, Mile High Hoops podcast.